we're going old school. So, let me see if I can, oddly enough, give me one moment, people, while I get this thing squared away. There I am. Let's see, probably got to turn the volume down. You'd think maybe I would have done this, maybe one other time before and that I would be good at it, but no. So, happy Friday night, people. It's almost the weekend. That's a good thing, right? Let me get squared away here. I have been out of the house virtually all day long. I got back just in time to grab a bite and then do the show. I have, Niall, good to see you. Notifications. Had to rely on Joe to give me the link. Much love. Yeah, the notifications are hit or miss at absolute best with YouTube. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way it goes. So people, there's an antique show in Reno that is going on this weekend, and since an awful lot of the watches that I sell are antiques, I have so I'm doing this show. I've been there all day long setting things up, and so far it's been a lot of fun. Sold some watches, having a good time. I'm in a good place, people. I don't know that I talk about it very often, but I'm in a good place. I'm happy doing what I'm doing in life. I got a new business, and the watches are selling. I'm having a good time with it, and I'm very happy with the direction of the boat, which I wanted to talk a little bit about today. This live feed is going to end about 10 minutes earlier than it normally does, because unfortunately the gentleman that is my doctor, who I deal with on all matters of sobriety, meets me at 7 o'clock every single month. That is the only time that I get an appointment with him. So without fail, I end up, and I didn't want to not do the show, which is last time I actually took off for that entire day, and Mark did the show for me, but Mark had some stuff he had to do tonight. I wanted to make sure that I was here for as much as possible, but I'm going to end the show a little bit early. I want to talk about the lifeboat because we've had, first of all, the growth has been good. We're really doing a very good job at growth, very controlled growth. It's not, sometimes you see some spikes, and in the very beginning we did. I would imagine a lot of that was probably, hold on one second. Are you getting excited that the Congress and the U.S. Senate want to keep our time to set our clocks back and forth? You know what, Gilbert, there's been a lot of talk. Apparently this is on the floor. This bill comes up every couple of years, but from what everyone is saying, this year it's got some traction. Personally, I like it as an idea. I really do. I think it would be better if the original thought behind this was basically because of the when it was passed, the number of people who in this country who made their living through farming was a very, very large group of people. A friend from work just subbed today and said he wants to talk to you, so I gave him your email. His name is Chris too. Oh Lord, what I need is another Canadian named Chris. I assume this man's not a lord, right? So this should make this a little bit easier. The non-lord Chris from Canada. But since very small percentage of the population these days make a living in farming, I think it probably makes some sense. These are, I think this is one of those situations where the time has probably come, and I think that it probably will end up passing, but we're going to see. So, people, the lifeboat has kind of changed direction in some ways, and I, for one, am ridiculously happy with the direction that the lifeboat is taking. I'm of the firm belief that we don't have a product, So most YouTube channels, there is certain subject matters within YouTube that basically everyone ends up handling it some way or another, right? There's some variation of a specific set of things within YouTube. Information stuff is huge, right? How to do this or how to do that correctly. And when YouTube first got rolling, that was one of the biggest subject matters was, if you wanted to know how to tear down a carburetor and put it back together, there was always a video somewhere on YouTube that was going to tell you exactly how to do that. And that was one of the early runs for, for the genre, so to speak. And then there was, there's sort of the silly entertainment stuff. But the rest of it is people that review products. There's always something that each time they come, with something new to talk about. You see it a lot with like what my brother does, obviously, and what people do. Watches. There's tens of thousands of watch channels, and it's always people who have a watch that they're going to review and tell you everything about. We here at the Lifeboat, there's no real specific product. So what we do is unique. I am of the firm belief that you all are the product. I think that the Lifeboat at its best is when I'm not here just pontificating, to sit here and just, talk all day long. I don't think is something that benefits everyone as much as it does when we have somebody, come on the show and we hear, stories from different people, because seeing how other people in sobriety are coping, hearing the stories of how other people in sobriety got to where they're at today, I think that's really, that's when this has its best potential. And this has been a pretty good run, right? We did, we've had 3 interviews in the last couple of weeks. The number of views that those interviews get are great. The interview that we did with Niall had a ton of views for this channel. There was a lot of people that tuned into that. The feedback we got from it was incredible. The feedback we're getting from last night's interview with Rip Curl Readiness, another example of just how a story really starts to resonate with people. And let's be honest, that was heavy. That was, people I don't know, more often than not, I don't have a clue what's going to happen in an interview. When we start talking, hey, Joanna, good to see you. Stacy Michaels, good to see you. When I start doing an interview, I don't know where it's going. And I didn't know that story was going to end with his wife passing. I didn't know any of the details of that. So I was along for the ride like everybody else on the crew. And that one was, that was heavy. I mean, that was just one of those interviews that, rocked me to the core. And I think it did everybody else. And that, again, not to beat a dead horse, but I really think that that's when the Lifeboat is reaching its full potential. I would love to have you all, weigh in on this. Shoot me a text, shoot me an email. Let me know what you think. But I really like the interview format. The interview was a third-person story, but it was important to him, and it was beautiful. I agree. It was, you're right. It was far less of an interview than it was someone just completely sort of unloading. And the courage that it takes people to come on and do this, by this I mean interviews, to come on here and tell your story. Everybody that has come on and done this, can probably tell you it's more intense than most people think it's going to be. And when you come on and start to let that fly, there's a lot that goes along with that. There's a lot of stuff that does to a person psychologically. And my hat is off to Rip Curl and to Niall and to Jeffrey and to Chris and to everybody that has done this here. It really is it's not an easy thing to do. And from a host standpoint, obviously, it's, in my opinion, it's the best possible case scenario for us sitting in the captain's chair, because we're learning at the same time that you all are, and it's entertaining, even if it's heavy and it's disturbing, and regardless of how the interview or the story takes place, no matter how emotionally wrought it is, there's a level of entertainment to that because it's so real and it's so raw. And this is really the direction that I'm hoping to see the channel going, and I think Mark feels the same way. There's only so much that you can do without sort of branching out, and the last thing that we want to do is sort of get pigeonholed into one kind of a genre where it's the raw sobriety channel is the reality of a story like last night's, to hear that the way that it was done. Lord Kiss Freak says it was tough doing an interview and being in the spotlight. I was really nervous. You know what though, Chris, your interview, we've said it before, but the response that we got from your interview, especially the very end and the way you ended that. And again, people, that was another one that there was no discussion about how that ended or any of those things. And if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. And if you have seen it, go back and watch it again. Because I think that these are the kind of videos that you really can, you can benefit from seeing more than once. I feel guilty only listening and not chatting, but I'm eating a bowl of cereal. Love you all so much. Miss Herman Hill, I think we can let this one slide, especially if it's really good cereal. You know what I mean? If I'm a cereal fan myself. Reality TV became popular because people want reality. Reality TV got fake quickly because TV is profit-driven. Truth. Great comment. Great comment. It's the truth. Reality TV took off, I think, for a couple of reasons. Number one is people really would like to have that sort of voyeurism where they can get the reality of somebody's life and feel like they're sitting and watching it. That's entertaining. The other thing is that you want to talk about a cost-effective way to put out a show. As a great example, the first time I talked about this on the air was, last summer. But at the time, an episode of Law & Order was costing $12 million to pay the actors. That doesn't count, the whole procedure of filming and editing and, all of the things that go along with that. Feeding all of those people, what all of that entails when you actually film a show like that. That is just the bottom line number of what it was costing to pay the actors to put up something like that. So for a third of that, they can do an entire season of a reality show. And then what usually happens is you see the reality stars getting very, very famous, and then they start commanding much bigger money. And about that time, things change. And even in reality TV, you're right, it's no longer real, which is really kind of funny if you think about it. Oh, and Truth agrees. He says, "Oh yeah, it's definitely much cheaper than paying the actors." What really kind of blew me away, and I've talked about this on the air a couple of times. I was watching the Emmys, which is it's like the Academy Awards for television, and they were handing out awards, and in the category for best writing in a TV series, the Academy Award, the Emmy Award statue went to the writers for Duck Dynasty. I remember sitting on the couch and going, Duck Dynasty is a reality show. And they just won for best writing. Like, what the heck is going on with that? But it gives you an idea of the fact that most of what you see in reality TV is not obviously reality. It's scripted, and some of them are just awful. Where you watch these shows where people are going and repoing airplanes. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but they spend 10 minutes on the outside trying to break into the hangar. And as soon as the door opens, they're filming from inside in the dark as the light comes on. And I remember looking at people, and this was when I was incarcerated, and going, so before they broke in, they went inside and set a camera up? Like, you don't see that this is fake? And guys would argue with me, no, it's real. Yeah, it's awful stuff. But back again to the lifeboat. people, I really want to take this in that direction. Please feel free to reach out. Drop me a text message or an email and tell me what you think. But because it's your boat, and it always has been. You know, from Jump Street, that's really, I think, one of the other things that that has made us unique, and it's probably one of the reasons that we've all gotten as close as we have, is that we do very much try to view this as a big ship that belongs to all of you, and you know, we get the great seats. But because of how well the interview process is going, and because that really is the direction that you know, that we want to take this, we're going to be doing about once a week, hopefully, maybe I don't know, maybe more later. But as of right now, about once a week, we're going to be having Niall on and doing a Niall and Tommy talk kind of a format, because the response to those videos where Niall and I get on and sort of rap are really fantastic. And I think the reason for that, people, you know, the thumbnail was funny. It showed the two of us. You know, there was a meme done that that really kind of showed the two of us as if we were getting ready to spar. I think we were getting ready to spar with lightsabers, but you know, it painted that kind of a meme. And I don't know that is, you know, at all really what happens. But I do think that in a lot of ways, Niall and I are a yin and a yang to the whole sobriety thing, in that we both believe the exact same things. We really do. It's just that I think we approach them from a different mindset, and mine may be maybe less realistic in some aspects, whereas I think Niall's is really kind of grounded in realism, to the point where, you know, he may not always come across as, you know, the cheerleader for sobriety, because he's definitely focusing on the harsh realities of what it means to embark on a life of sobriety, and the ability for everybody to hear someone, because there's a ton of people that would love to weigh in on that side, but we haven't run across too many people who can do it, and do it articulately, and can also do it without, you know, we don't argue. We may disagree, but we don't argue. At least not in a long time. Right? We get along very well these days. So that's something. Those of you who have not been interviewed yet, there's a handful of you that are in the hopper, so to speak, where we were going to be reaching out to you to try to get some interviews lined up here for the next couple of weeks. One of the other things, people, that we might see change slightly here on the Lifeboat, a couple of things. Number one, are you guys familiar with the live premiere, right? If you make a video and you do a live premiere, let's say that I recorded this at 3 o'clock today. I could be doing a live premiere right now. I could not be here. And as this goes live, there's still a comment section. This boat is my boat. This boat is your boat, from California to the Staten Island. Well played, Truth. Well, we're proud to have you as a part of it, Niall. Truth, that's very funny. Niall, we're proud to have you as a part of it. You know, truthfully, we really are. But there may be some videos shot here in the near future that are going to be done in a live premiere, so that the host will be in the comment section with you. So it won't be live in the same sense of the word, but the host will be in the comment section, and we're going to experiment a little bit with that and see how that works out. If it does, we might play with it a little bit more. If it seems like it's one of those situations that doesn't work, then we'll can it fast. But I think Mark is going to play with that first and see how that works out, recording his stuff and then going as a live premiere. So we're testing the waters, and I know that we have been promising for so long now. It's incredible, the concept of doing a call-in style show, but that is coming. I promise people. We have just been buffing up the technology end of it. We need to, obviously, we've been down this road and we've talked about this so much that it doesn't need to get brought up again. I don't want to beat a dead horse. But amazingly, because I'm a really nice guy and I have a tremendous singing voice, but amazingly, there are people out there that aren't fond of me. And the prospect of doing a call-in show, they're literally drooling like Homer Simpson when there's a donut around at the prospect of being able to call in and curse and call me a junkie and, you know, hope that I pass away with a needle in my arm whilst we're live. And we want to safeguard against all of those kind of things. So we're just getting all of the logistics worked out. But you can also weigh in on that. I am of the firm belief that this is a tremendous format. I really think that this is a great format that really lends itself for call-in. Ironically, we have to take this one step at a time. Well done. But people, when I look out into the comment section and I'm doing a live feed and I see somebody that says to somebody else in there, I'd like to reach out to you a little later. You know, there are some things going on in my life that I want to talk about, like Swiss Vape is doing it right now. And people, if you knew just how good that feels, to me, that absolutely screams success. More than a couple of thousand subscribers or how many people hit thumbs up, you know, or leave comments. I don't think that anything that takes place on this boat feels more like success than when I realize that the people on the boat really do reach out to one another and ask for assistance and get that assistance. This makes us so unique, not just within YouTube, but in the world. You know, there are a lot of people that have said a lot of nice things about the boat, but what it really boils down to is that the people that have been brought together all have, they all have the ability to help one another. You know, you can reach out to anybody on this boat, and it really is a beautiful thing. Someone say donuts. Jesse Brown, good to see you. Purveyor of all things donuts. Jesse Brown, good to see you, Jesse. So yeah, people, those are the things that are going on the boat. There's going to be some opportunities for some of the individuals who have been on before to come back on, because so often, like we talked about in the last couple of days, it's all but impossible to get somebody's life story in 60 minutes. And then, you know, you've got the me doing my intro and me holding up the cat, and my bobbleheaded partner, you know, weighing in at the end. And what you really get left with, best case scenario, is maybe 50 minutes of somebody having the opportunity to tell their life story. And you're not going to get a life story in 50 minutes. I mean, honestly, people, that's next to impossible. So we're going to be having some of the people that we have interviewed back on. Everything that happens to you is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. You get to choose. Seventh Son, thank you. Not just for the kind donation. I really appreciate you, brother, but also for a great comment. And you know something, people? A lot of times there are things that we say in the sobriety game that sound like platitudes, and they sound like sort of rah-rah, kind of speeches, and they get recycled. And then there's some things that are just such truth. Whether you're in the process of trying to get sober, or you're just living a air quotes normal life, he's right. Everything that happens to you, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything that happens to you is an opportunity. And there are so many cliches that go along with this, right? Every single time a door closes, another one opens, or a window opens, or blah, blah, blah. But it's 95%. You know, how many times have we talked about this? It's 95% how you react and 5% what you're reacting to. And that's the absolute nature of life in general. But it's obviously, in so many cases, people, there's nothing difference between us and the normal people other than the fact that our emotional states and everything that go along with it are multiplied by a factor of 10. Hey, T. Prada, good to see you. Glad that you're here. And I don't know if I said hello to Flamin' Jackson or Alan Ballantyne. I love the both of you guys. I'm really glad that you're here. Honestly. Charlie Mullins. I didn't do my normal shout-outs this when I first got on today. I'm sorry. And I know Mark always does that for me, but since Mark is busy this evening, I will do the shout-out here. Honestly, I think the boat is hitting its stride. And I talked about this. Mark and I was waiting on an auction. I think everyone is based on chapters. One time this, and another time a further exploration, and then before you know it, we begin to learn to love ourselves and others. Great comment. Absolutely a great comment. And you know what? I think that applies, Niall, to life as well as the boat. You know what I mean? Every chapter in your life. I saw a great meme that said something about, don't judge the book of my life by the chapter you walked in on. And, it was something that stuck with me because, today I was at this watch show that I'm doing, and I have a guy that's not a partner per se, but we do a lot of work together in the watch business. And there are some repairs on watches that I can't do that he'll do for me, and there's some that I'm better at than him and I do for him. And there's a lot that we do back and forth. And when I start getting that close to an individual, I figure it's just a matter of time before maybe they Google the hell out of me, right? So I thought I would give him a brief overview of my past because I think it's kind of important. And I came clean and told him a lot about where I have been. And he said to me, he said, you just wouldn't know it. He said, of all of the people that I know and I hang out with, he said, I just don't see you as kind of a drug user. He said that really kind of blows my mind. And number one, I took that as a compliment. And then as I started to process it a little more, I thought to myself, this is one of those things that we talk about all the time. What does a drug addict look like? Right? There really is no typical drug addict, but I wouldn't want him judging me on the chapter he walked in on. You follow me? I want him to have this is a guy that I'm going to be spending a lot of time with, and we're going to be doing a lot of work, hopefully for a long period of time. So I want him to have a better understanding because there are going to be some times, where I say I got to get out of here. I can't be in here anymore, and I want it to make sense to him, so to speak. The courage to go live is easier than the fear to stay silent. And when you do it, you will know that. Great quote. And Truth said, Niall, very much so. Maturity isn't equivalent to age. I know people who are in their 80s and 90s that are still hung up on a fake life and depressed that they aren't happy. You know what? This is something that, I think very oftentimes we get stunted. Very oftentimes nothing. Always we get stunted into a certain phase of life by our substance of abuse. So, for me, when I started, doing hard drugs, my emotional development stopped. And when I first got, clean and sober, I was a 46-year-old body with the emotional quotient of a 17 or 18-year-old, and that's a bad combination, right? Especially in a place like I was, because Your mouth can start writing checks that your body can't cash anymore, and you can end up dead. It's one of those kind of a places where you really sort of have to watch yourself. But if people don't take care of things and sort of work through issues, it is possible to run into guys who are 75 and 80 years old who are stuck emotionally like, a kid in 8th grade. And I really like what the comment that Niall said as well about, the fear of going live. That applies to the lifeboat, and it applies to life in general, right? If we just substitute going live for going sober, you could use the exact same statement, right? The fear of going sober is something that is going to be so much better than the reality of staying wasted. And I realize that for a lot of people, that first leap of stepping off into the road to sobriety is a really tough thing to do, but it's so much better than the alternative. There is no perfect timeline for life. Just because you're older than others doesn't mean it isn't too late for a new start or to begin living your dream. I agree. I really do. I think that one of the biggest pitfalls of sobriety is that people get sober and they stop using, and there's this, again, we all build up this great paradise that's gonna be once we get sober. Boy, once I get off of dope, this is gonna happen or that's gonna happen, and you come to believe that everything is gonna be perfect. And then when the reality sets in, that quite simply, that's not the case, right? Once you come to the reality that that just isn't the way it is, you kind of get into a groove where you feel like, well, this is the hand that I'm stuck with now, because I peed away so much time doing drugs or alcohol, and now that I'm sober, this is the reality that I'm going to spend for the rest of my life. And I think that you can start to shape that reality, and it may not be something that's easy, but it's a matter of saying, this is the direction that I want to go to, and then sort of sticking to that plan. Arizona, I am coming out of a dependence on substance at 45, but I am watching people stuck on self-destructive dependence on diet, material items, etc. We can substitute things for happiness. Boy, can we substitute things for happiness. If you go live, you have to prepare to tell the truth. The alternative is much, much worse. Stay silent and nothing happens. Vocalize and something happens. Rip Curl proved that. You know what? Very astute. And you're right. That's an excellent way to bring that full circle. Really, did you guys hear that? Let me back up and give you that again. If you go live, you have to be, I'm sorry. If you go live, you have to be prepared to tell the truth. The alternative is much, much worse. Stay silent and nothing happens. Vocalize and something happens. Rip Curl proved that. People, if you missed Rip Curl yesterday, please go back and watch it. I promise you, it's worth it. It's tough. It's not an easy hour to watch. It really isn't. And I don't know if I explained this well enough, but yesterday, Rip went to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy's power shut down. And because of that, if Lord Kiss is leaving, good night, my brother. Be safe. And when your friend Chris reaches out to me, I promise you we'll take care of him, all right? But when the computers all shut down at the pharmacy, Rip, if you've ever been on a computer when the power goes out, you got to reboot the whole damn thing, and it's not just as easy as turning on and off a phone. A lot of times it can really sort of screw things up. So he got stuck waiting online, and by the time he got into the parking lot, like a driveway near where he lived, we were already going live. It's the reason we were a couple of minutes late last night. That is the reason that Rip filmed from his vehicle. I've had people, I had somebody reach out and say, well, I know he's a prepper. Does he live in his vehicle? No, he doesn't live in the vehicle. He did that for a very specific reason, and it was just a a thing of convenience so that we weren't all going to be waiting even longer. Truth says, Niall, stand for something or fall for anything. All of our lives should have a purpose. It is for our mental, emotional, psychological, and physical health. Find something that matters. You know what? This is what I'm talking about, people. Honestly, the sort of the intellectual banter that starts going back and forth between the people who are in sobriety on the lifeboat really is it's a tremendous thing. And it never ceases to amaze me that, there are so many people, fighting the good fight, trying to stay sober, and all sort of educating people, educating one another through, everybody's thoughts. And Niall says, Truth, appreciate your input tonight. Thank you. Love it. Absolutely love it. Brandon Calloway, good to see you, Brandon. How many days? I'm going to go 76. That's my gut. I believe he's got 76 days. It's getting to the point, man, where we're going to start counting in months here in a little bit. Really a beautiful thing. And the reality is that, you've proven that you can do it. Right now, it's a matter of sticking to it, staying the course. Getting out of an addiction is one part. Staying out of the addiction is the other part. The war, being sober and stable, is totally different part. I'm fighting right now, standing in front of the bar tonight. Now I am home. Hey, good for you, man. Honestly, good for you. And it is, as Niall said it so eloquently, it isn't a magic bullet, people. It's not. Cutting out the substance doesn't mean life is going to be perfect, and it doesn't mean that all of your troubles are going to magically go away. What it means is that the largest problem that you have in terms of short-circuiting every single opportunity that you have to live your best life is going away. That's really what it is. Shout out Tommy for the Swiss Vapor. He's in good hands with both of us. You know what? I do believe that the Swiss Vape is probably considerably better off because he has people on the lifeboat. I know that there's been a lot of conversation between the Swiss and myself, and Swiss and Niall, and it's been my experience that the more people that are giving you advice and insight when it comes to sobriety, the better off you are. I really believe that, And if you talk to somebody and the things that they're telling you don't resonate, get away from them, right? Kindly, but go find the person that's going to make that happen. And you hear about it a lot in 12-step programs. You go and you find a sponsor. Doesn't mean you're stuck with that individual for the rest of your life. If you're talking to somebody about sobriety and the things that they say really kind of resonate with you and they really make you feel like you're doing better because of this, then stick with it. If not, get out of Dodge, right? I mean, seriously, get out of Dodge. Let me see here. The meaning of life is finding your gift. The purpose of life is giving your gift away. Pablo Picasso. Well played, Jeff. That really is a great quote. And he did a little painting from what I understand, this Pablo guy. No, that's a great quote. Honestly, it is. I like it. That's my friend Jeff. Speaking of which, Jeff, Antique Show, Reno tomorrow. Might want to stop by there. If not, please do reach out to me because we have things that we need to do. Maybe Monday-ish. Ring me. People will, he's right in my hometown. Well, my new adopted hometown, I guess. This too shall pass. I know it's only temporary, Raven. All will be well for both of us. You know what? This too shall pass is a great, great phrase. It really is. There have been so many times in my life, honestly, people, where that phrase and nothing else kept me going. T. Prada says, I love antiques. I do too. Absolutely. From from a very, very young age, I have been enthralled with all things really old. In watches, they got to be 100 years old technically to be called an antique. So a lot of what I deal with is vintage, which gets into the 50-year-old mark. But I love antiques. There's something about history and a object, history that you can put your hands on that is just, I don't know. I've never. It's a difficult thing to explain unless it's something that lights your fire. But for me, it's just really one of those things that that speaks to me and always has. And if that by some chance that talisman that that is history, if it functions, because so few things from way back when are there are a lot of antiques that you collect and you put them on walls, right? They're really cool and they're fun to look at. And Alan Valentine says, I'm 54, so I'm vintage. Yes, you are, my friend. You absolutely are. Yeah, so the watch I'm wearing, 1949-ish. And it's on here, keeping beautiful time and being used and still doing exactly what it was designed to do all of those years ago. So there's a great lesson in that, people. There really is, right? You're never too old to be worth something. So plenty of interviews lined up, people. Time will take them all in. Trust and believe is when it will happen. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to. Oh, come on, 51's fine. I'm looking forward to getting these interviews in here and lined up. I know that Swiss Vape is in there. There's a lot of people that we've got sort of in the hopper for upcoming interviews, and I will be getting with Mark to get that all scheduled up, and it'll be. I'm sure I'll be reaching out to most of you before the end of the weekend, right, to start getting them set up. I think in a perfect world, we don't go, a week without one. I really would like to see that happen. And I don't mean, even if we were doing one or two a week, if I could do an interview every single day, people, I would continue to do that. And maybe at some point the boat will grow to that size where we'll be able to, to interview. The danger in that is that, sometimes it's a little tougher to interview than you think, and sometimes a bad interview is awful, people. If the ones that don't go right are just not a great thing. Life is a series of moments, some negative, some positive. Make sure to focus and pay closer attention to the positive moments. Jesse, I agree with you, but I think that you celebrate those and spend a little bit more time in celebration of those moments that are that are the positive ones. But I think you gotta really try to learn from the negative ones, and maybe that's how my sobriety has changed. The longer that I do this, I think in the very beginning I tried very, very hard to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, and the longer that I'm sober, the more that I seem to maybe try to concentrate a little bit more on the negative as well. If that makes any sense, it might not, but if it makes any sense, that's what. God help you all for your sins. You may see me once a week. Hey, what is that May thing, Niall? People, you all heard him, right? In fact, I very distinctly remember saying, you all heard that, right? And so, people, when the weekend is over, according to everything that I have on the calendar, hold on, I'll check the calendar. Yeah, I think Niall's going to be on Wednesday of next week, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one interview for sure next week, and there will be some other ones that we're getting set up. Pamela Swan, good to see you. I don't know if I said hi to Seventh Son either. Good to see you, Seventh. Okay, people, we are getting right up close to the end of this. I realize this is early. Because I do my doctor's appointment via video, I have to get into a virtual waiting room where I wait on my doctor, whose name is Monroven. It's his first name. Really a good dude. And he is going to come and talk to me about sobriety, oddly enough, and do all of that. It is part of my monthly routine. Then tomorrow I will be back at the watch show, but I will be here tomorrow night at the here. I promise you. Please don't end the lifeboat. Lots of us rely on this for support. End the lifeboat? The hell are you talking about? Can't end the lifeboat. I got news for you, Miss V. I count on this for support. You understand? I count on this for support. If you heard a rumor, I assure you, simply that. This ain't going anywhere. Promise you. This is what I do to stay sober. And I hope this never stops. I love all of you. You know what? I think at some point, yeah, I did swear. I'm sorry. At some point, people, it will stop. But it's probably when they close the box on me. Or my brain deteriorates to the point where I can't carry on a conversation anymore. But short of that, I'm going to be here every single night doing what I do. It helps me stay sober, and as my good friend Niall says, what we do here is important. And the more I do this, the lifeboat is only beginning. That's right. The lifeboat is only beginning its life. Niall's right. This ain't going anywhere, people. Hear that? And that's to each and every one of you. You have my word. This isn't going anywhere. And to those of you who can't stand me, and you know who you are, because you're lurking, we're not going anywhere. We'll be here forever. Alrighty, people. So, on the other side of the glass, there's nobody. But I am Captain Tommy Scoville. This is the lifeboat. I will be back tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel. And between now and then, I want you to do what you do. Right? Reach out and try to save somebody. All right? We love you all. And by we, I mean me. And the cat in the basket, huh? Look at her. Is she cute? Look at her foot right up there. But oh, what do you say, kitty? Little foot clean? Okay, people. That's a wrap. We'll see you tomorrow night. God bless. Good job, squirrel.